Marfoogle TV live in 3. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We've got a lot to go over, so let's get right into it. In our first story, the Air India crash that everybody was talking about not too long ago, just a few weeks ago, it apparently had some really strange events happening. In fact, the pilot supposedly turned off the fuel system. Was this some sort of sabotage? Again, they say that the pilots made fatal error after takeoff, causing the jet to plummet to the ground, of course, taking the lives of 260. So this whole thing, you know, this was, I forget what the day it was, but it was just it felt like this was, the timing of it was just so off. And, of course, analysis of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner's black box indicates a possibility that the pilots may have made a human error while operating the flight bound for London. So, again, turning off the fuel system's not too smart of an idea. Why did it happen? We don't really know. We're going to talk about this and so much more. We're going to talk about, of course, what is going on in the White House. Bongino is saying, I'm out of here if she doesn't go. He's in a huge fight with Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel might even follow. There's a huge call for people to, you know, for them to basically come out with the truth. They're essentially saying that, you know, the EpiPen stuff is all just fine, right? There is no list. He took himself out, and yeah, it's a bunch of beer. So we'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, we have a lot to go over. We're going to go over to Earth here, and we're also going to bring in my co/internet brother. What is going on, Dex James, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine. Hey, I got some comments on this flight.
Oh, okay. So let's hear it.
All right. So look, they're saying that it's almost impossible to turn the switches off accidentally. But the black box analysis has not been able to rule out an improper, inadvertent, or intentional action. But here's the other kicker. The cockpit audio also confirmed that one of the pilots asked, "Why did you cut off?" ?
Huh.
Yeah. And the other guy said, "I didn't." So they haven't said which one said what, but it was, you know, pilot Sumit Swarbal and co-pilot Clive Kunder. Who are both pictured there.
No,
but yeah.
Now, if this slowly comes out, what if this is made to look like it is Pakistan, a sabotage by Pakistan? If you don't know how this fits into things, because people, I get so many comments, especially when it was like the beginning of the India-Pakistan thing. They're like, "Who cares?" India and Pakistan fit into a bigger picture. India is trying to steal a spot from China. India is literally having the Make in India program, which I know many of you who read and research into this know that India cannot take China's place for years, or at least they're not set up for it, and they can't be set up for it for years. So the Made in India program is a huge kind of knife right in China's side. So there is a motive. If this was an investigation for, taking somebody out, you would look at China. They would be the prime suspect here. The Kashmir thing that happened, the big event, that happened. Then they went to this like 1-2 day war. And then the U.S. says, we have information you need to know. They literally came out and said, yeah, we went and talked to them. We gave them information. And then they all stopped. What information they gave them, and this is my opinion, is they showed them proof or some sort of secret logs, or they listened in on phones and they said, hey, China organized that event, or I think that they organized that event in Kashmir. So you would then look at Pakistan, attack them, and then in Pakistan, they did it vice versa. So I think that that's what happened. And the reason why this is a big deal is because it all has to do with China. And this is a World War scenario type thing. So, this event, I don't know if it plays into it, but what if this is going to come out in the next couple days that they figure out that it's sabotage? Or what if the government doesn't have to say anything? Indian government right now on the back end might be going, this was Pakistan. This was somebody in Pakistan that did it. And then they're trying to go after him. But if it plays out like it did last time, then you would think that they would be wiser and be like, well, it's probably just somebody trying to manipulate. So we'll see how it ends up coming out. And then China creates remote-controlled cyborg bees that could be used for secret spy missions. I'll repeat that here in 1 second. But I do want to say thank you to Rochelle Cooley for using your super capabilities to gift 5 badges to other Fugel family members. Thank you, Rochelle, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for, again, coming in all the time. Alex Galagos, T-Man, has been consistent. He's a biz man, knows the art of the deal. He plays his cards well. He has been leveraging EpiPen info to keep the swamp old and allow him to do his presidential duty. I'm going to get to that here in a second, Alex. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, one more thing on this 787. So the manual toggle switch, I just looked this up. It's in the center console by the throttle. It's manual. So it's not a digital, it's not a push button, it's not part of the computer. It's got run and cut off. It's guarded by a metal stop lock mechanism to prevent any accidental movements. You literally have to flip up this metal thing out of the way and then flip the switch.
Like out of the movies with the nuke button. Right.
Yeah, exactly. But get this, even though it is analog, it does then send a digital signal ultimately to the system, because the system is computerized. So the fuel system that then shuts off, it's gotten a digital signal from the computer system to shut off. But if the switch was physically toggled, but that doesn't mean it was physically toggled, because they could have been looking at a response on screen saying it was physically toggled, right?
Yeah.
It's a computer telling them that. And it could have been done digitally. So that's something else to take in consideration, because when one pilot said, why did you do it? And the other said, I didn't. And they're both thinking it's done. And all they're going by right now is digital information, the black box saying it was flipped, not that there was a physical switch that was flipped. It's not like there's a camera in there that said, we see the switch getting flipped, right? All they know is there's a digital signal.
So
it could have been hacked.
We're talking,
it could have been hacked, or it could have been sabotaged.
We're talking pilot to pilot, like they're right next to each other. Is that what it
yes.
was?
Yeah. It's pilot to co-pilot.
Yeah, because this wasn't to tower.
Was talking to them. Right.
So they have screens on both sides. This is a 787 Dreamliner. Just to let you, like, I saw a lot of like X's like saying, oh, so one guy was just a total bot or something. Says, oh, some crappy Indian plane went down. Who cares? This is a 787 Dreamliner. This is one of Boeing's biggest planes. I don't know how nice it was in that plane. Well, actually, I did see some pictures, very sad pictures of families, basically sending off their farewell, all smiling and getting ready to go on their trip. So yeah, it's a massive plane. And I think the cockpit, I'm pretty sure the 787 is a big cockpit, but I mean they can't hear each other with their earphones, so they talk to each other, and they have screens that basically have kind of the same information that toggle. If you're a pilot, please correct me if I'm wrong. So he's seeing that this got turned off. He says, "Why'd you cut it off?" And he's saying, "I didn't." That's scary. That to me does scream that somebody else did it, or somebody went in underneath the plane. And maybe, Dex, I've seen this in the movies. I swear it was on like the Tom Cruise movie or something, or a horror movie, whatever. They went under the panel in the thing, and they ended up shutting off something, or they cut the fuel supply, or they did something, or they cut something to the black box. They went underneath and they cut their location, whatever. But they had a manual control underneath. And a lot of these movies, they try to base it on, basic, they'll get consultants to say, is this real, or we want to make it as realistic as possible. So I just wonder if somebody went underneath it too and tried to bring it down. But who knows? Again, we'll find out, or we won't. So this is really, really weird. China creates remote-controlled cyborg bees that could be used for secret spy missions. Now, this is after we actually talked about this. There's possible mosquitoes and possible bug-sized cyborgs, right? So this is kind of an update, because there's a lot of talk about China creating these things to actually turn into weapons. A bee, if they actually do model it after a bee with some sort of stinger or some sort of needle on it, this could be used to literally stop somebody in their tracks. And the reason I say this is we've talked about these smart bullets, or these essentially these bio bullets, that it would be so small you wouldn't even see it. And they would be able to go right into you, and it would change your actual your body. It would send a message to your brain to have you stop talking, stop walking. They could send a message to where the bottom half of your body doesn't work. This is all really, really crazy stuff that is happening right now in weaponry. Think about, how much money they put into the research for cures and this and that, and then look at the money that they put into researching new weapons. It's pretty insane. So this is very, very, very cool. At the same time, very creepy. Dex, a bee could fly in your house. Now, a bee is a little bit bigger, but we're talking about insect size weaponry. They're not going to, just use this for something. Or we could end up using something like this to replace bees when they stop pollinating.
This isn't just insect-sized weaponry. This is insects as weaponry. They are taking literal bees and putting a device in their head, and they're able to control the direction that the bee flies. And they've done the test device. They've done it, and they were successful 9 out of 10 times. The bees obeyed the instructions to turn left or right. So they could equip these tiny devices. They put these little probes on the back, and they go into the head, and they put the probes into the certain portions of their brains that control the direction. And those devices could also be equipped with listening devices, sensors, or cameras, or other micro technologies. And they can use bees to not have to build the drone, just use the bee as the drone.
Yeah, they've done this with moths. They've done this with butterflies, and there are American companies doing the same exact thing. They have done this with certain beetles. You've probably seen the videos of the beetles that are being motorized. There's even ones that they've basically had on strings that are cyborg, that have actual computer technology placed into them. The thing is you won't even think twice. The thing is, if a bee flies into my house, though, people do pay attention. So it wouldn't be, no pun intended, it wouldn't be too stealthy. A fly, now that's one thing that, you look at a couple times, but then you're just like annoyed. A bee, people are allergic and people don't want to be stung, so people usually go, we got to get that out of here. Most people react like it's a mouse, like, there's a bee. So as far as like spying, I think that this would be more like a weapon, because this thing coming right at you, think about how hard it is to hit an actual bee Then think about if they are programmed to zigzag and just go right for your face or something, inject you with something, and then boom, you are down on the ground, done. It's very crazy. And then for the actual, surveillance part of it, if you're on the battlefield, you're not going to think about a bee. This could fly right through an entire barracks and nobody would notice, especially if it's 3 or 4 feet above people. People aren't going to bother swatting at them. I mean, it is quite crazy because this is being used in a negative fashion, I guarantee it. But, you actually look, bees are supposedly disappearing. And without bees, our entire ecosystem falls apart. So I hope that they're also doing side work on trying to get, a queen bee motorized or something and put them in the right areas where they need them, or, in the future, if we do have to do that. Dex, have you thought about that too? It's like they could use this for good too, especially if they have the right bees hooked up to this thing.
Well, I guess, or we could just, promote more bee colonies and stop doing the things that we're doing that are destroying them.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They don't know what's actually destroying them, and they can plant any artificial. They can actually put a bee colony somewhere. They can grab. Something is happening to them, and some are going to probably use the climate thing, but some people think it's something else. That it's something to do with the Earth. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Look up the windshield theory too. If you've been here a long time, then you already know about it. But if you're new, look up the windshield theory. It's very, very creepy stuff. And then Sea of Steel. Dex, let's talk about the huge fleet of terrifying tank boats.
Yeah, so these are tank boats. So check out the photographs. I mean, the pictures tell it all. There's a handful of them you can see. These are literally tank boats. So these are amphibious steel crafts. They're tanks. They got turrets on them. When they're in the water, it looks like a boat floating with a tank turret on it. When it gets out on land or comes up on shore, it looks more like a full-on tank. But China has just unleashed a vast number of these and started testing them. The tank boats charging through the seas in a tight formation during the military drills near Taiwan. Now, we certainly know what these are for. These are for the taking of Taiwan, for sure. So they're considered an amphibious unit. Part of their naval formation. So they released this on the state broadcaster, their CCTV, showing the amphibious armored units conducting live fire exercises, obviously as the tensions in Taiwan are escalating.
This is like a specialty unit on Command & Conquer. If any of you are around my age, then you might know. Dex, did you ever play Command & Conquer, Red Alert?
No.
Oh, it was a PC game 20 years ago, or now it's been on a couple of the platforms, but
yeah, I know it. I've never played it.
Most people, would know it on PC. They had all these weird units, and this reminds me of this. This is like straight out of a video game. These look like actual tanks, the turret and all, and they have just basically popped them right onto a boat. This says to me, along with the landing, those landing ships, the 160-foot bridges that all centipede out into the ocean, that they're going to pull up on these. These will take care of water threats. I wonder, can these go? These can go on land?
Yeah, these are
amphibious.
These are amphibious. Just keep going down the picture. You'll see one coming up on shore.
Oh,
so it looks like a tank on land and a boat in the water.
That is so freaking crazy. And it's only 125 miles from China. And why haven't we seen these before? There's obviously hundreds, if not thousands of them. And this is just a kind of a testament to we don't know what they're building. All of a sudden we have a picture of a whole fleet of these things. How has the public not been notified when these were being manufactured or when they were being moved around? That's how, well, they are keeping their manufacturing. The Pentagon said itself that they could not believe the kind of underground and undercover manufacturing that China has been doing. I mean, that's China's specialty. That's the scary part. As far as if you were playing Command & Conquer Red Alert, you would pick a leader and then the leader would have a superpower. every faction. France had a super laser, and America had paratroopers. It's like China had manufacturing power. Like, that is their superpower. And that is the thing. They can manufacture more and faster than anyone else. So, I just keep hearing people underestimate China. China has been rolling in the dough since 1980. And especially since the 2000s, they've taken over the world market. People say, oh, well, they're selling it for $2. Well, if you sell $1 trillion items for $2, that's freaking $2 trillion. Dex, go ahead.
Well, they're saying China launched all these ships in response to Taiwan doing their drills. So Taiwan launched their largest drills, which we mentioned, but they just bringing that up. This is sort of retaliation for that. But also China's new giant sea monster. If you scroll down, the warplane, it was spotted for the first time in the Bohai Sea on Monday. So that's another big thing, that they're flooding their sea bases with nuke bombers. So again, we see them move equipment, get in position, get prepared for what we all know is coming, which is eventually they are going to take Taiwan. We just don't know if it's tomorrow or if it's next year.
And you don't have to believe Mark Rutte, but Mark Rutte, I think, is actually saying something that's pretty obvious. And it's because of the patterns where I saw this beforehand that it makes sense to me, because all of those narratives that were built up to this would be, seeding that idea of this happening. He said that, Russia's going to go into NATO, which it makes sense. If you look at the push that's happening right now in Ukraine, some said that they were like a month and a half away from making such a major push that they might be heading to other countries, right? So say if they were going to take Taiwan, they would wait for Russia to distract, go into NATO, do this big push. And of course, then either way, even if it's not a distraction, it's not like, oh, we're sending all of our military there. It's going to take up resources. It's going to take up, U.S. military as well. Even if the U.S. says, hey, most everybody is going to be fighting China while you are fighting NATO, they've already done these deals. They need some of the U.S. equipment. They need some of the stuff there. So you're going to spread out the U.S. military when this happens. That's two peer-to-peer wars that would happen. That's Russia and China. That's the only way that they would make a dent on the U.S., according to the Pentagon, according to China's defense ministry, and according to Russia. They've all done the same simulations, and they've all come to the same conclusion. They have to team up to be able to take us out. And what is happening? And they go, well, you know what? Just to be safe, let's grab North Korea. Let's grab Iran. Let's grab Cuba. Let's grab South Africa. Let's grab, Venezuela. All the people that hate the U.S., let's grab them all. And people until the very last day are going to say it's a nothing burger and nothing's happening. We don't even need paratroopers in our country. You knock down the power grid. You have people in key positions already in place in the country. That's the thing. This guy said that you're geographically safe. Sean Ryan, by the way, that we talked about the Sarah Adams thing. Sean Ryan just posted like a super anti-Trump thing. And it really sounds, and he says, you voted this in to take away your benefits and this and that. It sounds like, I don't know if he overnight flip-flopped or something, but Sean Ryan said that. And then somebody replied back and said, well, we're not going to go to war. We're completely safe. You're uneducated and you don't know that we are geographically safe. And I think that that's the stupidest point. That's from 1960s books. That's from 1970s textbooks. Yeah, if you're educated from a 1970s textbook, yeah. But we are no longer geographically safe. How would we be geographically safe if over 4 years, hundreds of thousands of people came in from each country and there were no records taken? They didn't even go to court until after, they didn't even get their background checks until after they got let out. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll check your background when you go to court in a couple months. That's crazy. It might explain, too, why there's this huge push. Right now, I see one of a super big operation. I think if this is something that is being pushed by another country, the anti-president thing, if Because I know a lot of you have actually switched sides and you're like, the president is horrible. If there is something like that is successful and it's starting to actually shift the views against the president, and it would be a very catered message, it would have to make it look like something that makes sense, that's logical, that they could somewhat prove. They would have to put the seed of doubt in your head. This Epstein stuff is doing that. All of these things, which again, might be because the president bit too much he could chew, because he had consultants all around him taking advantage of his ego and saying, hey, you could be the one that releases all of this stuff. You could be the one that has this on your legacy. Then he announces and he talks all this and he pushes everybody to do it, and then realizes, oh, when we go into these secret documents, we've got control over 80 different countries with this horrible information that we got from EpiPen. And if we put it out, we lose all of those puppets. And then they put it back away. Meanwhile, everybody is going after him. Elon, I almost think, could be the biggest honeypot in the world right now. He goes in perfectly, hires people from the W and the E and the F, buys it with these mysterious buyers, and a lot of them connected to that, and then leaves mysteriously right after, basically attacking the White House, attacking it, all of this, going right after it. It seems like he flipped back to his original side. It's very, very odd. So when you see this, it's like right now, this very well could be the start of the big war. And I think that if you put all of these things together, it's hard not to, that this would be something that is coming soon. Like, this is coming soon to a theater near you. But the Sean Ryan thing, geographically safe, we're not geographically safe anymore at all. How could we be geographically safe when there's 300,000? Those could potentially be troops. How do you let 300,000 troops in your country and say we're geographically safe? They didn't have to come over by boat and come in with, tank boats. All they had to do is take a flight to South America and come through the Darien Gap. And it was so important to them, some mysterious company built a freaking concrete bridge in the middle of the Darien Gap. And now you see our president and the military so locking down the border and having destroyers on our freaking border. That says to me, they're not expecting people, they're expecting tanks. They want to create a golden dome system that's going to knock missiles out of the sky. They're hardening our grid. All of this stuff says to me that they know exactly what we've been theorizing. We just don't get any, just right in your face proof about it. You don't need it, though. You can see all of the stars around the gravitational pull of this one event. And this one event is like Planet X. And it's just sitting there right in front of everybody. And people just listen to the media. They listen to the 100 bots on, cell phone farms saying, no, everything's fine. I don't think it's fine. I think that this is all leading up to a massively planned, one of the most just crazy, insane plans we've ever seen. Take advantage of our president's ego, have him overstep his bounds, or bite off too much to chew, and then snatch up and basically pull the rug from under him. That's what I thought was going to happen right in the beginning. Stephen Click, there were two trees in the garden. Once tech compromises the tree of life, then this will be the end. This is why the people were dispersed in Babel. That was one tower. Now there are thousands. Stephen Click, thank you for the comment. I appreciate you. And I'm sorry, you guys, it was 91, 92 degrees. I am fried today. I just cannot believe how the heat has affected my brain. Looking up for IM, we've got Scenic Adventures. Thank you, looking for up IM. And then Scenic Adventures, appreciate the mods and thank and hope everyone is having a great night. Thanks, Dex Marf, for your hard work. For those that you say, oh, you're just trying to scare people, don't watch a show. Like you have to pick out my show to watch it and then supposedly be scared. This is for people that are like-minded. Like you don't watch a carpentry show because you don't do carpentry, or maybe it's because you want to get into carpentry. But you're not going to be, a locksmith watching carpentry stuff and going, oh, yeah, this is stupid. Carpentry sucks. or be a mason, be a bricklayer or something, and be like, oh, carpentry sucks. If you're not into carpentry, don't watch carpentry. If you don't like scary stuff, don't watch scary stuff. Dex, you're going to go over the Pentagon sparks World War III fears after their latest seismic weapons grab. After, of course, I do want to remind you guys, make sure to go check out EMP Shield. As far as if this looks like what a lot of us think it is, then one of the first things that they would try to do is turn off our power. Any military operation, they are going to try to turn off the target's power. If you lose power, you lose communications, you lose all of that, then you are dead in the water. This is a device that can protect your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats against that. It can be put in your car in less than 10 minutes. If your car is newer than 1980, then there's most likely a need for this. Otherwise, if you want to be 30 miles away from home and stuck at work and have to walk 30 miles, go ahead. But if you want to be able to get home to your family or get out to bug out, this is definitely a good thing to have. Again, this is also going to stop or ground the signal of a Carrington-level event in less than 500 trillionths of a second. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Make sure to use the code MARF. Again, this is to prepare yourself for anything. It can also protect your home from lightning and all of your devices from any kind of surge. So all of those expensive surge protectors you've bought, some of them 60, 80, $100, you don't need those. Your entire house is the expensive surge protector. In fact, one of the best in the world, 50,000 times what those ones you would buy in the store, and it covers everything that's plugged in your house. So you don't ever have to buy an expensive plug-in again. All right, and then Dex, let's go over Pentagon and what they are sparking right now.
Well, the Pentagon has sparked fears of an upcoming world war after it bought $400 million in rare earth material stock that are key to the military weapons. So the purchase means the Defense Department will now be the largest shareholder in MP Materials. It's America's only operational rare earth mine. It's in Mountain Pass, California. Rare earths are a group of 17 metals used to make magnets that turn power into motion. They're used in magnets that are key to building various military weapons like the F-35, drones, submarines, just about any of our high-tech equipment has some form of rare earths in it. Obviously, China has had a lock on that, but apparently we have plenty of rare earths in America. We just haven't had a lot of investment in mining them. Well, here is one particular case where now 400 million investment and probably even more coming from our Department of Defense to own outright and start buying up this type of technology and these mining operations. So, China halted its exports back in March, and then they started to, ease up on some of it last month, as we reported. But we're totally reliant on China. So this is the move that everybody's been waiting for to say, hey, if we went to war with China, we could not produce, we could not replace because we have no access to these rare earths. So this certainly could start us in the direction of shoring that up. And it's obviously positioning our military to be in a position where they're not reliant on China, because obviously everybody keeps pointing the finger at China as the next big adversary in the next big potential war with America.
It's just it's kind of lame. Our community, my peers, we've all said it for 6, 7, 8 years, and now everybody is catching up on the threat. But you know why? China has a huge budget. They have put their money in the right medias. They have had that online military for a reason. If there's a post or if there's a negative post about China, it will have 10,000 negative remarks to it. So much so that even the honest journalists don't want to post about negative things about China because they get attacked so much. Trolled, like literal trolling. And then, of course, there was this huge slew. There's actually journalists are now getting these SWAT kind of things going on, too. And we're talking about at office spaces, all of those kind of things happening. And that they were tying that to negative pieces about certain countries, right? So this is something that it was just so far out that we could see, and now it's here. Our community does not trust when it's in print. So now that it is being printed, what we've known for years, now people are going to doubt, which is really sad. I just hope that you take the benefit of the doubt and go and get yourself prepped. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, and don't just think it's just 400 million. So look, MP, the company itself, is actually putting 600 million in. So that basically means 1 billion. They've also committed to opening a second magnet manufacturing facility in the U.S., and they're calling it the 10X facility. The location hasn't been decided, but JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are backing a $1 billion loan in addition to that to build that facility. So it's basically a $2 billion investment between our military, the MP company, the mining company, and then the bankers putting up another $1 billion for this expansion.
Mark my words, it will be in headlines probably a year from now, maybe 6 months. We are decoupling from China. It is a process that started long before the tariffs, but the tariffs really kind of got the ball rolling. Even if the tariffs are fixed, temporary, this or that, the memo that went out to those big companies, the big companies that said by the end of the year they would be out of China, that says something. The giant amounts of gold that were bought, that says something. The purchasing of this much, rare earth materials, the stockpiling and hoarding, the acquisition of things that we get from China now from other countries, the vice president making deals with India to replace many of the things that they now get from, of course, China, the tariffs, the hardcore tariff thing to basically say, hey, you won't be charged tariffs if you move your factory here to the U.S. The Golden Dome, the border shutdown, everything that's happening right now should be screaming alarms in your head that says the government is straight up looking at intelligence that they are planning a war right now, that they are about to do some massive event, and the U.S. is going to be involved. I think it's almost like an alcoholic that drinks 2 box wines a day and says, I don't have a problem. It's denial. Like it's utter denial at this point. And there's a good chunk that will just say, oh, it's all propaganda. It's all just to scare you and to manipulate you. Well, they can still scare you. They can do a war and scare you and manipulate you and restructure the entire planet with a war. It doesn't take a war to scare you. They can scare people with little stuff. They do it all the time. They used to do it with local news. I don't know if you guys remember, local news would be like, what is in the coffee you drink? That coffee you drink might actually cause cancer within 3 years. And then on the next day, it would go, drinking coffee is good for your heart. It's like they used to do it all the time. They put you in constant fear, so you would be easily manipulatable to the next sale or to the next buy or to the next consume. Now we all get our information a different way from the web. So now it's scattered. So it's much harder to find the truth. Ukraine says it blew up Russia domestic gas link in West Siberia. By the way, Kim, about the Houthis sinking the ships in the Red Sea. Again, yeah, they sank two ships, the second one in a week, I believe. So yeah, that I thought we covered that already, Dex. Didn't we cover the first ship by the Houthis, or did we just? I mean, they were cargo ships that got sunk in the Red Sea.
Yeah, I think they're amping up again.
Yep.
And we're gonna, the question is, you have to start looking at who are they targeting specifically. Is it Israel ships only, or is it the U.S.? Trump made that deal with them for them not to target ours, and if they do, I think that's going to obviously put us right back into bombing them again, which we already did.
Yep, and the assumption, if the president is telling the truth about it, is that they're getting most of their funding from Iran. And the president even said, whatever you do, Houthi, we're going to hold Iran responsible. I don't know what happened to that. I guess, actually, we saw it. Maybe down the road at that point, that's when they were planning to take out their nuclear sites. I don't know. And then Ukraine says it blew up Russia domestic gas link in West Siberia. When you attack the gas and when some of their exports and imports and those kind of things, Dex, am I correct when I say I believe that was also on their their list or their doctrine of what reasons they could actually use tactical nukes or even step up a war.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. If infrastructure was, but this is particularly important, and there's two reasons. If you go back to that map and you take a look at where it is, I mean, this is 1,900 miles away from Moscow. This is way over in. It's not all the way across Siberia. It's really long, but it is pretty far away from everywhere else. So obviously they didn't like send a drone there. They infiltrated it and sabotaged it like they've done all the other long range stuff. But yeah, they took out a natural gas line with 2.6 billion cubic meters per year. This fed 3 key areas for the infrastructure, not the infrastructure, but the military industrial complex there, and military industrial construction that's going on. So this is a big setback in the sense if the explosion is big enough and not something they can just fix in a day. Or even in a week. If it's going to take them a long time to fix, then it's a pretty decent setback.
So I wonder, did they say in here how they actually blew it up? The actual way they did it?
No, they didn't say, but it obviously, if it was done locally, they can't reach that far. With missiles.
They can't, but the U.S. could be from the sea if they were up here.
Now, Russia hasn't confirmed it. All we have is that Ukraine is taking credit for it, saying that they blasted the pipeline. And I assume by the term blasted, not bombing, it meant that they probably went in and laid some sort of, explosives in key positions and took it out.
I mean, a submarine could pop up and put some tomahawks on it or something. I just wonder, because didn't we hear?
I think Russia would see that in like a split second.
Well, a day or two before that, didn't we have a sub pop up between Iceland and Greenland right here?
Yes, we made a sub present earlier in the week in Iceland.
I'm just spitballing here. 2 days before that, a submarine pops up right here, literally between Iceland and Greenland, which was kind of weird. And they made a public appearance like, hey, we're popping up here. And then all of a sudden you have something deep in Russia right here, a gas link blow up. And they're saying that it was the inept Ukraine. Yes, they could have got a physical guy in there, or they could have had infiltration or communicated or offered somebody, paid somebody. But I just wonder if that was a submarine missile and they're keeping it on the low. That would be us directly attacking Russia, but yeah, I highly doubt that they would do that. And if they did, they would probably cover it up. And then iceberg right ahead. Amazing images show skyscraper-sized frozen blocks drifting towards houses on Greenland shores. Now, we've shown you some pretty wild pictures of almost the very same thing happening. And I believe there was even a movie that had this kind of scenario in it. In like a little bay. And this almost looks like the exact same setup. Look at how drastic and crazy that is. This is a little inlet, little bay right here. These are houses. Like Mother Nature, just the world is so incredible. Like these are icebergs just drifting right into it. And I'm guessing they evacuate those. Like these things, if they're going towards it, they're going to hit it. Just to look at that. I mean, imagine your whole view, the horizon of the water, just completely changing when land comes to you. Like imagine a landmass just coming towards you from the ocean. Like, these things are absolutely phenomenally huge. It says, I've seen icebergs that are rolled, what they say have rolled in the beach with some rocks on it. This one here is completely different. It's not only that he is all black, he is almost in a diamond shape. It says, Mr. Antoncion said, it is hard to estimate the size of the iceberg since it was roughly 6 kilometers away when he took the photograph. However, he believes that it was at least 3 times the size of a regular bungalow. Look at this thing. This is just literally the tip of the iceberg. I mean, just how incredible. Just to be able to be the photographer taking pictures of this stuff. Oh, of course he takes a picture of himself. I would too. These are some of the coolest pictures I've ever seen.
That commentary about the bungalow size was the black iceberg that was spotted off the coast of Canada. That was a fisherman.
The one he saw.
3 bungalows is like 3 small shacks size, but it was an all black iceberg. It's kind of a rare event. But yeah, these big things are
Thank
huge.
You for the correction.
I mean, they're not going to come up on land because you got to imagine, like, for what you see outside of the water, what's under the water is like 10 times bigger, right? It's significantly larger, so it's going to stop against the shoreline as the shoreline gets shallow. But it's still, like,
I just think it's cool.
You wake up one morning and open the front door, and it's like, whoa, where did that come from? Definitely a picture that is probably not seen all that often, but probably only seen in Greenland.
This could totally be the set of like an Icelandic Beetlejuice. I don't know why these houses just remind me of the Beetlejuice model, but this picture by far, I mean, what a cool picture. I wonder if they got that. They most likely got it from a drone. Now nobody does helicopter shots, but look at that. It looks like a nature's submarine. You can see it's down below there. Just absolutely phenomenal. Kay Wildman says, happy Friday. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. And then Carol says, remember, you are loved by the Lord. Hey, thank you, Carol. And much love, Tartan Granny, Wiz Jennifer Chamberlain says, amen, sister. Shirley Millward, thank you for supporting my favorite show. Thank you, Shirley. And then Kathy Pina, aloha, hugs. Carol, you are so kind. And then Kathy Pina, again, good to see you. Yet another show. Cypher 9, thank you for being here. Looking outwards. Thank you, Mary Gunn. Thank you, Crabbait. If 1 liter weighs 2 pounds, how much one weighs when it melts? No wonder our world is off kilter. And then Tartan Granny Jane, the world is beautiful. Every country has something beautiful, but Scotland is the best wee country in my eyes. That water looks awesome, Adam. Tartan Granny, are you in Scotland? I know we've got some Scottish folks here. And then Daryl Calhoun, thank you. John Doe, thank you. And that's for Daryl says, I can't chat on slow mode. No, I don't blame you. Yeah, it's hard when it takes 15 minutes to get an answer. Jeffrey Woolidge, Shark Tale. Yeah, it looks like it. Totally. And then Colin Wilkins, Crazy Crap going on head on a swivel. That is for sure. And then Stephen McMahon just hit 25 months. Says, have a good weekend. Love y'all. Stephen McMahon, have a good time. And I don't know if you're probably not going to work then, or this is your Friday. I don't know. But have a good time either way. All right. And all that Twitters, you got it. It's just absolutely baffling. All right, Dex, do you want to go over all that Twitters?
Yeah, so this is the list that came out sometime last year, late last year, about who the actual buyers were, the investors that went in on the purchase of what's now called X, formerly called Twitter, along with Elon. There was a whole lot of people, and there's a lot of big names in here that you may not have known were the investors, and we'll go through some of them.
Well, remind people why. So the other day, I asked a question. I said, "Who are the buyers of this?" You said you would check, and people were actually saying, that would be really interesting to see, because this group did go in and dig on who the initial buyers were, because this was all privatized, right?
Yeah, it was all privatized, and then it had to come out in a K-1 later that went private after the sale. But one of them is Sky Dayton, big-time Scientologist, former founder of Earthlink. Larry Ellison, who I think we all know, the Larry Ellison Revocable Trust, the former Oracle guy, or not former, he's current, I guess, founder and owner. Scott Nolan, Hall of Fame Phillies third baseman, was in on the deal. Steve Davis, who is part of the Boring Company, just to name a few. The Pershing Square Foundation, a nonprofit entity created by Bill Ackman. I'm sure you've heard that name before. who gets a lot of publicity on Twitter, writes a lot of stuff. Tons of VCs were in it. Everything from firms like Andreessen Horowitz, and others that were pretty big, including Saudi dollars and others from the VC world.
Binance.
And yeah, and then there's a whole bunch of crypto guys like Jack Dorsey. He's buying in on it. Oliver Jensen's Binance Capital Management, which is the one of the big crypto exchanges out of China, or started out of China, but then moved out when they put the lockdown on. Then some super rich people like Andrea Stroppa, an Italian cybersecurity researcher, and Shahid Tactic Group LLC, which is John Shahidi, is Joe Rogan-esque podcaster, a YouTube content guy, MMA fan. You ever heard of him? He was in on it. Kareem Hakimzadeh, recently unsealed shareholder. List mentions a Sequent AGAS trustee of the Dalba Trust, which holds the shares, I guess, of Access. A lot of these guys put all the money they put in it, they hide it in other things. And that's what some of the research was. They had to try to figure out, okay, there's this holding company, but who actually owns the holding company, or who invested in that holding company, to figure out who the people were that did it. Of course, there's a lot of princes from different kingdoms that have got money in it as well, which we knew. And the list goes on. The article to this, and the guy who put it together and did all the digging, we put it on the website. So if you want to go read it all in greater detail, if you're curious where the money went and who is actually behind, because it's not just Elon, as much as we think it's all Elon, it's a big chunk of Elon's money, but it was a big chunk of a lot of other people's money. And there's a whole lot of foundations, a whole lot of names that are in here.
I don't see anything like a smoking bang bang, but if somebody like Ian Carroll or somebody like that wants to dig into this, go ahead. Trinity, Trinity, hi ho, Kermit the Frog, you should dig into this and see what's going on, because something is just digging at me about how this all has been going, especially the other day, the same day that Grok made these super bad comments. Linda Yaccarino, the woman who was literally, one of these head people at the W and the E and the F, left that day. How he, knowing all of these things, knowing that his subsidies would get cut and all this stuff that they say, knowing all of this, goes in right after he leaves. Then they just completely start trash talking. Throwing the president, saying, "Oh, this is why they won't release it, is because he's in the files." Which is now the main thing that people are turning on him for. I see it right now. I see people. Somebody texted me a picture of him and the guy. Everybody knew that Jeffrey was in New York all the time. He, I believe, he even had a place nearby. The thing is Jeffrey Epstein was friends with everybody. If you're in that class, you can't go to the billionaire gym without seeing this guy. You can't go to this place. You can't go to this place. You can't go to the Bugatti dinner without seeing this guy. This guy what made himself a part of everything, which also screams asset, right? That he was an asset of something. The fact that he was in so many people's lives, that's not through word of mouth, right? That's not. I don't think that's all through his business as a dirty dealer, right? I think that's because he was involving himself, and they were trying to get blackmail on all sorts of people. That was the whole thing, is that they had all of this blackmail on just everybody. And I think it's very strange that now, it's just night and day. Did the president find out something that we don't know about, with Elon? Everything Elon is doing, by the way, is saying he's setting up for a future that he's possibly also building to destroy. The robots to replace humans, the Neuralink for immortality, and for possible systems to survive space. All the Boring Company digging underground tunnels. The battery companies to possibly run space missions and things like this. Everything he's doing says that, he's possibly preparing for something else, and that he possibly may have some other people in his pocket. Everybody loves Musk and the president. They love both. But what if, and just open your mind to the fact that what if it was like a big honeypot, right? Now it's privately owned. We don't, we don't know what's going on now. Now everybody's speaking their mind. So many people have come out of the closet and said things that they would never say just a couple years ago. And I always worry, is this a big honeypot to now have everybody speak their mind, and then they essentially put everybody on a list? Did they infiltrate the White House and screw over the president? Or is the president the bad guy? Was the president dealing with the horrible guy and everything else? That's the thing. Everybody knew he was a playboy and that he had affairs and things, and nobody even cared about the Stormy Daniels thing. I mean, some cared, but again, most people are like, well, if he does his job right, we don't care about his personal things, as long as his personal things aren't with, wee ones. Now people are attaching it with wee ones. What if he went through Jeffrey EpiPen for Stormy Daniels? Like, what if we don't know? Like a Stormy Daniels kind of character, what if it was Jeffrey EpiPen that ended up hooking up people like that with that? Because when you're that rich, a Jeffrey Epstein, that's the kind of guy who, if you won't, I'm sure there's people that are like, hey, I need a horse. And that's the guy that will make it happen discreetly. Hey, I want the tailpipe of a frickin' 1979 Mustang. I'll go get it. And hopefully we are talking about a car that time. But again, you get my meaning. So I think that people should be digging into everything right now and questioning even their most loyal thoughts, because how many times have we been completely torn down and just been like, what? I see people shifting. It's so crazy after the last few years to see people flip-flopping on a dime just because they see everybody online doing the same. And I'm like, how do you know all those people online are real? There's million-man armies in China that could make you think anything is trending, right? But that's just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments down below. I like Musk. I'm a fan of the things he's done. I disagree with the future we have with the stuff he's building, but I actually like Musk. And even if I tried to hate him, I think there's funny things he's done it's just like if somebody makes you laugh, it's hard to dislike them. Even if you disagree with them, they end up being your friends and you go, hey, I really hate that you do this. But if he's somebody that's bad, I would be the first one to call it out. Same with the president. Because I felt like I was falling towards something. I was saying a lot of negative things, and I'm now thinking, why is this happening? Am I being manipulated? Are the things I'm reading manipulating my thoughts of it? Just saying. I even had one of our good mods and good friend, she's going, I don't know. Maybe this is something here. People are flashing the pictures of him and everyone has a picture with that guy. I mean, everyone. Multiple pictures. So I don't doubt that they knew each other. But if they had dirt, this is my theory. If they had dirt, they would have used it back when they used the Stormy Daniels stuff, back when they were throwing everything at him. All of the court cases, why even throw those court cases when you could destroy his reputation in one day if they truly had all of this dirt? And because the whole thing is that they're not going to release the files because the files have the president on them. You don't think the last president would have released those files if it had that person on it? I think it's more about who else is on it. There's current people that are possibly puppets. For instance, if the French president, Macron, and I'm just using his as an example because he's the one that's getting, butthurt about being talked about with his wife. If he was on that list, he would immediately get impeached, and then the U.S. or Israel or somebody else no longer has a puppet that is in place in France. What do you guys think? Let me know. It's just like if the list put out a name of an undercover agent that's deep into like a biker gang or something. The second that list comes out, that biker gang agent is now exposed. People go, well, what do you mean? because this is this was just a guy who did dirty business. Well, it is most likely that he was some sort of asset. And what is even more horrible, and this is not something that any president would want as a legacy, imagine this. Imagine any country using the wee ones and saying that this is collateral damage to trap these people. Imagine that this was funded by or done by either our allied country or us. That would be the stain of the history. And if you were president when you found out that this guy was an asset and that Dex, do you want to say, because it was interesting what Andrew Bustamante said. Do you want to talk about, just mention that real quick, because that really kind of made me think about this.
Yeah, he's a former CIA guy who was, I guess, I'm trying to remember the term for it. He wasn't like an agent in the sense that he was doing the covert stuff. He was doing covert work, but he was the kind of guy that would deliver what was needed to give to get an informant to deliver information that they wanted from him. So they had somebody that was going to turn information against their state to us. They might need something in return for it. They would need something in return for it. So he was the guy that would, find that asset, work with that asset, and then try to deliver what they needed. Well, one of the first ones he did, he said it was so horrific because what the person wanted, sometimes they wanted money, sometimes they wanted access to this thing or that thing. What this person wanted was the kind of filth that is illegal, and involves young people. And he was like, he was sick to his stomach. He's like, what the hell do I do? I don't know what to do. And he calls his boss. He's like, what am I supposed to do? And he goes, what do you mean? What do you do? You give it to him. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, it's not a problem. Like, just let me know. It'll be delivered and it'll be in a package and you go give it to him. And sure enough, that's what happened. So he didn't actually come out and say the CP word, but you knew what he was talking about when he was describing this. And it insinuated that, like, if the CIA needed to give anything, just about anything, to somebody to get what they wanted in return, they could do it. And it was even involving illegal stuff like that. Simple illegal things like drugs, no problem. But we're talking like super criminal illegal stuff.
And
like
taking
that.
people out. Like, we can take people out, and they find out 40 years later, and they're like, oh, it's for national security. But for national security, could you justify taking wee ones? No. And what if our country or any other country was doing that? That's the scary part. And then imagine this is all buried. Imagine I'm just trying to look from all sides and possibly even theorize. Because if you saw when the president, because remember, I was pissed off. I'm the one who said I was pissed off because I was pissed off that the president blew it off. He's like, yeah, that's old news. Nobody's talking about it. And it was the perfect thing to say where everybody goes, oh, why is he blowing it off? Oh, that's suspicious. Well, that's the thing. I think he would know if he's on those files. I think he would have known this years ago. I think it would have been used against him before he got the second time. He could be in on it, like somebody said. He's in on it. He's in on it, and America's done. I've always had that in the back of my head too. You have to keep every option open. But if he found out, then the files do come out. Everybody's pushing. Pam Bondi, this, and this, and that. Everybody's pushing for this stuff to come out. And then they go, whoa. We've got active people here. This person, this country. Things would fall apart if we put this out. Or if we put out that list and it's got 6 redacted names that are active, then no one's going to stop talking about it until they release those 6 names. And it's going to be this circus forever. And it's going to distract from possibly, all this other stuff's coming down the road. And then if you release those 6 names, then somebody gets impeached. And then we no longer have the puppet, or they don't have that power. Or it comes out why we had those names. It comes out that we funded the damn thing. That would be the stain on his legacy, which that's the thing about the president. He's all about his legacy. It's all about his name on a golden building that when he dies for 1,000 years, there will be gold Trump everywhere. I mean, everybody knows this. That's why he's trying to do right by us, because it's really not about the money. It's not about the power. It's about the reputation, which is a good thing for us, because if we want something done and we all say it loud, he wants to be a people pleaser and he wants everybody to remember him. So, I mean, it's a good thing as far as if we want something done on our end. but not a good thing for him when you're talking about intelligence agencies. How would they take advantage of the president's ego? How would they weaponize that against him? They would lead him down a goose chase, and then when he gets to the end and he's the one responsible for doing it, then find out, oh, you guys are behind this, or you guys might have played a part in this. Now he's got his entire side, his entire administration's been calling to release these things. Did they just find out what the on him? You know what I mean? I think that our secrets and every country's secrets are so horrible. I don't think any of us want to see them, to be honest. Luis Martinez, Coconino County confirms patent death from play, but says this is unrelated to recent prairie dog die-off. Yeah, so I saw that. The thing with those, all the sicknesses and stuff, you just really got to be careful. There's a lot of things that are popping up. They constantly pop up with. There's certain things you look for. I haven't seen any of the weird things with this yet. If it affects your brains and young people, then I would pay attention. And then before we move on, again, make sure to go check this out. Again, this is Jace. Jace Case is a very cool service. It's very easy to use. You just do a quick telehealth appointment from your cell phone or your tablet or your computer and talk to a board-certified doctor and get a discreet kit with all of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics to your door. Of course, you have an add-on list where you can add on things like, hey, doc, we've got an asthmatic in the house. Can we get an albuterol? There's an add-on list. Go over that. See if you can actually utilize that, again, because that is something that you can also do right there on the phone. There's also Jace Daily. I don't talk about it as much as the regular Jace Case. It is also more expensive, but it actually varies depending on what medication you take. You can actually get a 12-month extended supply of your prescription meds. And like Dex said, he actually looked at, without insurance, when you go buy your medication, it was actually cheaper to get his medication, a year of it, than it was to get it monthly. So again, some of them you might actually be able to find a better deal getting a year from this of Jace Daily than actually going to your pharmacy. So marfooglenews.com/Jace. And again, that's code MARF. You'll save money and you'll help our channel at the same time. All right. And then FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino weighs quitting over the president's administration's handling of the client list. So this, again, he's also saying that Pam Bondi leaves or I leave. He's pissed. And also, we have to point out, there was this other story too, that the FBI has come out and said that there's, or was it FBI or who said the metadata from the video of EpiPens perishing is altered? Was that FBI as well?
No. It's the FBI video. I think it was experts outside. It was from Wired. We've got that link on our website. If you guys want to go check it out, but it talks about how they believe that the metadata it obviously shows that there's been alterations to it. The big question that everybody's talking about is the obvious one, which is the minute missing. There's like 1 minute missing, but of course, Blondie, as some call her, or Bondi is her real name, says, oh no, that's normal. Every night they do something to the video and there's always 1 minute missing. So it's not just this day, it was every single day. Which,
because that's smart when you have murderers and prisoners, right?
Yeah. And a lot of security experts are going, yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, I know from my own personal experience, I reboot my camera server like once every so often. I'm not going to say how frequent, but it does happen. And when that does happen, there might be however long it takes the server to reboot. I won't have any video, but it's not every single day. That just seems obsessive. Usually it's much more less frequent than that. But nonetheless, that was her excuse as she just sort of scrambled around that issue. But look, Bongino is pissed. He didn't even go to work today. He took a day off, they say. And he didn't make these claims. He made these claims in private to others, and others have sort of been leaking it out. There's also statements that they're saying that potentially if Bondi stays and Bongino leaves, that Kash Patel may leave too, because he's not going to stick around if she's there. So, or definitely if Bongino leaves. So that's the scuttlebutt. Again, we haven't heard officially from the horse's mouth outside of the White House saying, "Oh no, there's nothing wrong. Bongino's going nowhere." But yeah, it's not looking pretty. There's a lot of turmoil amongst them. And it makes sense because you've seen a lot of the positions that somebody like Bongino had before he took this position. And oh, by the way, he took a monster pay cut to take this position because he was an extremely, well-paid personality in the, in the media space. So he didn't need to do this. He did this, this wasn't going to expand his career. If anything, it was going to potentially hurt him a little.
I posted this on Twitter, and if you want to see how easy it is to fake this actual video, and this is the thing, AI is now so good, it is indiscernible. I've seen the official video, and it is so scary how well this AI video did a good job of putting in the lost minute. And this is totally satire, totally a joke. But does that not look like the actual video that was released? Dex, did you see this on my Twitter?
There's so many versions.
Oh, there's yeah.
Hilarious.
The last minute, the last 1 minute of the footage has been recovered, right? So you see that there. And if you've seen the regular footage, then you understand like how crazy that is, that this is so accurate. And I of course made I made this for it. Not everybody thought it was funny. I did though. I laughed. I laughed inside. I laughed several times. I laughed many times by myself when I was watching this about the ditty. The ditty. Did he do it? Yes, he did. Echo added for exaggeration. Either way, you can find this tweet and many others over on Marfoogle News Official. You just have to type in @Marfoogle over on X, and you will find me there over on a potential honeypot website. Hopefully it's not, though. Hopefully both daddies are not, spooks. But we'll see. And then thank you so much to the mods. Jenny Anderson, we're watching the Bible unfold. As an ex-Satanist, I used to laugh at people saying things like that. Thank God he never gave up on me. Bless y'all. Jenny Anderson, you've been here for a while, right? Otherwise, you're not the only one. Because I remember a few years ago, were you the one that talked about, did you ever call in? We also had an ex-Satanist that called in and essentially told their story about how they came out of it. Luis Martinez, Coconino County. Okay, got to that one. And then Saren, thank you so much. Bill, thank you for subscribing. And then we have a few new people there looking up. Thank you for subscribing. Maggie Joy, thank you for subscribing. Samuel Turner, thank you for your support this week. Barbara Curran, thank you so much for subscribing. Atticus Black, and then Itchiander, thank you so much for subscribing. All right. Let's see here. And Dex, thank you so much for your service today. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
All right, you guys, you have a wonderful night. Can we figure out, I cannot do the math here. I believe Rochelle Cooley is number 1, but I don't want to say that and be wrong. I believe Kay Wildman and Carol are tied for number 2. And thank you, Luis Martinez. Thank you, Looking for Up and I Am, Scenic Adventures, and everyone else that supported today's show, including Alex Gallegos. Thank you guys, and thank your mods over at marfooglenews.com/friends. Remember, there's a tip line over on marfooglenews.com. You can actually send us any anonymous tip. You can actually, I don't even think you need an email. That's right. We made sure that it was no email. If you want to sign up for our email list, and if you are weirded about any kind of YouTuber list, start a Proton Mail and get our notifications, because it's really important. All we need is an email to send you notifications, or a website. Again, you can sign up for our actual web notifications. That's through the browser. Again, then you will not miss the show because of missed notifications. Our notifications are not going out to everyone. They're going to the people that really watch every day. I don't know why, but people that don't, it just doesn't happen. I know that because of family members. I've literally seen it on their phones 2 days later pop up. That's just stupid. So thank you guys for sharing us out. That's the only way we can. So thank you, and thank you. You guys have a wonderful night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It is a shoutro.